Maybe we should put some lines underneath it so that it's more obvious that you're supposed to do something with it. So from UI break +4 to, what's the most letters we can have? 9, so 36. 9 times 4 is 36. We'll see how it goes. 4, 2, and we draw a line. Lines have an x0, y0, x1, y1. They're tricky. I give them 2 points, and they draw a line between those points. It's not a width and a height. So from x at, what is my height? 40, to x plus 2, 40, in white. Okay, and now as usual, I need to boop. Oh, add 16. That might be way too much. That is way too much. Maybe 6 would be enough. I don't know. Just guessing now. Ugh, and I need to die twice for it to work. Well, I need to score twice before I have enough to actually make it. Oh yeah, that looks good. And now I have an idea of how long the name can be. But it doesn't do anything yet. Okay. So what if I write the thing that takes inputs? So in TIC, when we're in game over, we use inputs game over, don't we? Inputs game over. Okay. At this moment, we're only listening for one button. Should I make a quick switch that just tells me whether we are waiting for a high score or not? It'll be faster than checking. Yeah. I'm just gonna somewhere put a thing. All these ends make me nervous, but it works, so I'm not gonna touch it. Put it here. Function is high score. And all this is going to do is return score is greater than high scores at high scores dot score. Because this is a conditional, it'll return either true or false. And it just wraps this entire thing into a single simple call. So, oops, I was in game over input. Input's game over. So, if is high score, then btn press 1. I have it up here. 1, oh, no, 0 is up. 0 if btn 0. We'll get back to the others. This is up. Then UI cur, was it cur letter? Is that what I called it? Yeah, UI cur letter and then UI entered name. Okay, UI cur letter is equal to. No, wait. The letter stays the same. If I'm pressing up, then what I actually need to do. Let me just grab those two names so that I have them. Just that I know what I'm looking at. Okay. UI entered name. If the up button is pressed, UI entered name at position UI cur letter needs to become the same value but one higher. This is going to be a menace of a thing. +1. If this thing is greater than the length of my letters thing, then it's wrapped around the top. So then that thing should become a 1. Okay, and then we do basically the same thing but backwards for 0, for going down. If button press 1, then this is going down. Then this becomes itself but -1. If it is less than or equals to 0, then we set it to the length of letters, so it wraps around the top again. Okay, that's up and down. Else if pt pressed 2, which is going left, this wouldn't be visible yet. Then UI current letter becomes UI current letter -1. If that thing is less than or equal to 0, then because index 1 is the lowest it can go, then actually I just want to reset it, because if you push all the way to the left, it should just stick to the left. I don't want it wrapping around. And then the same for 3, which is to the right, which is basically the same thing, but +1. If this thing UI current letter is greater than the length, actually we said the limit's going to be 9, so I might as well make it 9. Then UI current letter is equal to 9. Okay, so now if I did my job, you won't be able to see any difference, but I will be able to manipulate. If I can play this damn game. There we go. Now I can change the values. Look, G, H, I, J, K, all the way up to the Z, then 0, and then my symbols, and then there's an actual space, and then back to A. So I can, for instance, oh, it broke. Attempt to perform arithmetic on a null value. Oh, you know why? Because I stepped to a character that's further out than this thing has length. So I can actually put zeros in here, and it won't break, but it also won't display anything. But this needs to be a length of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Zeros will not display anything, because when they do the sub for this, it'll come back as a minus, as a nothing. So it'll just print nothing. But as soon as you press down on this, it'll become a character. As soon as you press up on this, it'll become a character. And it means that there is something that's addressable. Okay, let's try that again. Catch 2 fruities to get my score high enough. There we go. So now I can... There needs to be a... I need to see if I can get that repeat thing working. But I can theoretically... Okay, not quite fit my whole username. Now I can do this. Ta-da! It doesn't do anything yet. So, once we've set the name, we need to save it. So we're going to need a function somewhere. Save score. No, save scores. No, that actually that's. Okay, let's call this add new score. So first we need to make the object. So local new score, I guess, is equal to, well, I guess score can be equal to whatever my last score is, and name is equal to blank. This doesn't have to be in a single line. Okay, now we need to convert that entered name into a text string. So for each of the letters in, what do we call it? UI entered name. I can just concatenate it, can't I? New score.name is equal to new score.name concatenate the same way we do it for the UI to display it. We just grab them and then save them in the object, right? We should probably trim the it will just add nulls, so it would concatenate a bunch of nulls, which I think will get ignored anyway. So that should be fine. Okay, then we need to figure out so we know that this high score is higher than the lowest on our high score list. Wow, that sentence is terrible. We know that this should be on our high score list, but we're not sure where exactly. So we start at the top, the highest of scores. Is it higher than this? Yes, then it goes right at the top. No, check the one below it until we find one that is smaller than our current score. And that's the position where it slots in. Okay, so because we're checking down a list and bailing on our for loop when we hit a particular thing, we're going to have to write an actual while loop. I'm not fond of while loops. They tend to create infinite loops unless you provide the right escapes. So the important one here is the save location, because that's going to be our ticker that makes us break out of the loop if it runs too long, so that we don't get stuck in an infinite loop. Okay, while not saved and save location is smaller than the length of high scores. In other words, we check for as many entries as there are high score listings, and then we're done. Otherwise, infinite loop. If score is greater than high scores at the current save location, then this is actually where it's supposed to go. So then do the thing to add the score. Else save location needs to become save location plus 1. If I don't do this, we're also going to get stuck in a loop. So that save location starting at 1. We only run our while loop as long as save location is under the length of our high scores table, and if we didn't find the right place, which is going to make us bail, then we increment save location. If any of these three things are not in place, we get stuck in an infinite loop. This is kind of risky. I'm not fond of it, but and then the other thing is that saved should become true at the end of this, which means if either of these hit, we progress towards coming out of our while loop. This one is immediate because that as soon as that gets set true, we're out. This one will keep going until I think we have 4 entries in our high score list for now. So when the 4th one is done and this sticks up to 5, then that part escapes. So either way, this is reasonably safe. I'm not fond of while loops, but they work. So what do we need to do? We need to insert our new table object into table.insert into high scores in position save location, which is what we just figured out, and I'm putting in our new score. But then for each one I add, I also have to remove so that the list stays the same length from high scores at position, the last position, because the lowest score on our high score list would get bumped. Okay. Ooh, end of file expected near end. Did I miss an end? It doesn't look like it. Is there one too many ends? Oh, I didn't declare it as a function. There we go. Okay. Go. 1, 2, and die. I can put whatever I want in here. Press the button. Huh. Oh, as usual, add new score needs to be called somewhere. In input game over, if our confirm button gets pressed, we first add new score. Oh, only if what we call it is I score. Then add new score end. Was it called is high score? There we go. Okay. 1, 2, die. String title snake 490. Attempt to compare table with number. Go to 590. I know exactly what's wrong. It's because that high scores in save location has a property called score that I need to compare with. Which means we're doing this wrong in is high score. Oh no, there we did do it correctly. No. Let's try it again. Boop. Boop. Dead. Make this some arbitrary thing so we know it's working. Yay, look, there it is. It's going to take me a while to beat 245, but I have an idea for that. I want to add a combo. Not a combo. What I want to do is a multiplier. Like a little timeout bar that happens underneath your score here. And if, I don't know how long the timer is going to be, but if you catch the next one before that runs out, you get a multiplier. Like a ×2, ×3, ×4. And if it runs out, then it resets down to 1, and then you need to build up your combo again. So that you get a better score if you play better, Not necessarily if you just survive the longest. Otherwise, it just becomes a battle of attrition. That was my idea anyway. Okay. You know what? I'm happy with this. Next up, we need to save this in permanent memory. Because at the moment, as soon as you restart the console or restart the game, your high scores reset.